The second part of my stay at Camino Seguro was at a older children's peace camp, which was designed, it was the first time they did it, was designed to address the issues of gang violence, violence in the home, violence towards women, and it was with kids between the age of 15 and 18. It was a much more challenging month. I'm the assistant of Anna, a creative, thoughtful drama major who graduated from Syracuse University last spring. She's planning her curriculum with Maya and me, my daughter, who volunteered as well. We're well prepared, or so I think. The 15 to 18-year-olds are older than I expected. The boys sitting back with their arms folded exude almost an air of aloofness so familiar to me from teaching high school. If it weren't for their genuine smiles when we entered, I would feel that they were hostile. The girls are huddled in a tight circle in the center of the room, whispering a constant commentary about us and the boys as we set up for our first activity, a circle of trust. Bad idea. Everybody stand up and get into a circle, Anna explains. Nobody stirs. We have to almost coax them one by one to a spot in the center of the room. And I know it's going to be tough. Anna guides us in a name game requiring pantomime. Only Leonel and Alma oblige, most barely moving, peeking at Signora Rosi, their teacher in the corner, to measure how stern a scolding they're going to get when we leave. Two of the girls don't move at all, and after a brief, awkward silence, Anna fills in and acts out the motion for them. We begin to explore the issue of power. Who holds the most power in this room? Anna asks. She does, they all point at their teacher. The teacher holds? Oscar said, yes, she can tell us to be quiet. But you can just sit back, Anna says with rehearsed aggravation, and she sprawls on the floor. You can turn off and not participate, almost seeming angry. Silence descends. Isn't that power, she asks? She's got their attention now. Celeste, who's been totally quiet all class, starts to speak up, and speaking rapidly. Good, I think. But she's quickly silenced by the blustering comments of three boys. She turns away, half blushing. A teaching moment, I think. I ask my daughter Maya to translate so my Spanish doesn't butcher my message. Where was the power here, I ask? You joked. She stopped speaking. You stopped her. Language is power. We spoke for power for the next 45 minutes, almost forgetting the powerlessness that most of these children feel outside of Camino Seguro. I suddenly think in my head, of course, they have no power elsewhere. They're going to seize all the power they can here, whether it's the power of their jokes or the power of their silence. I admit to them that my weak Spanish skills means that I don't hold much power here. They smile wryly. Language is power, they admit, as the class ends with the arrival of the English teacher. The English teacher really, to them, was their way out. More than anything, Guatemala's second leading industry is tourism, and if you speak English, you have a shot at it. A lot of the things that I learned in Guatemala were about the realities of the dump, the realities of the history. In fact, the United States contributed, most Americans don't know this, to 36 years civil war by kicking out President Arbenz in the 50s because he leaned to the left. All of his land redistribution efforts would have been approved by FDR's foreign aid program. That's how radical they were. FDR was one of his heroes. But because of the Cold War, the Dulles brothers arranged that Arbenz would be removed from power. They did it through manipulation and deception. And the next 36 years were strong-armed rulers that led to the death of about 200,000 Guatemalans. And it's just a flick of the U.S. finger that did it. So going back in there with my wife, who had gotten a fellowship with USAID, was a bit of a sense of being able to repay in that way. And USAID did incredible work. She worked in democracy issues, and we talked a little bit about those last night. But for me, I was working on my leadership training, my Humanist Institute work, staring out the windows of these gorgeous volcanoes. But between those volcanoes and me was this city of 3 million people, where at least 50% lived under the poverty line. So using that opportunity to go in, especially being able to do it with my daughter, was wonderful. The 3 pillars for me of ethical culture are inherent worth, bringing out the best, and social justice. And clearly, that juxtaposition of garbage and human beings so highlighted what inherent worth means to me. And then secondly, social justice, clearly. Trying to change the infrastructure in Guatemala so that there is a poverty social net is a long-term job, but with new President Colom, who was at least a moderate, got elected last year, there's a chance. More than anything personally, it's the relationships that stunned me. that first showing up, feeling the rich tourist, doing his little community service venture, those 6-year-olds didn't care at all. And instantly, I felt, humbled, honored to be with these kids, and the parents of these kids with such integrity. These are women whose mother and grandmother worked in the trash dump, pulling out stuff, trash, both for dinner and to sell. This is their 3rd generation. And yet, there was no sign of a sense of a lack of self-worth on their part. And I think, would I do that? If I was in that position, could I hold that integrity? That's all for me. I got 2 hours of this. So.